Hey guys, Alfie here with New Life Mission. I'm your community partnership manager. I'm so excited to have you guys on board for our wonderful live stream event, talking about some amazing things. I have some wonderful guests for you tonight. We are looking forward to having you along for this journey tonight as we talk to these guests, as well as looking forward for you that have not heard about New Life Mission, learning some new things about New Life Mission, as well as those of you who do know us about some of the amazing things that are going to be moving forward here. One of the things I love most about working with New Life Mission, obviously, is being able to take care of these extremely amazing, wonderful homeless women and their children and give them, as the name of our mission is, a new life. But it's also working with the wonderful people that I work with that are dedicated to giving back to this mission and also giving back to such a wonderful cause that contributes to our community. I think we're going to have these conversations tonight and open up conversation that will hopefully help you understand a little bit more what New Life Mission does, but also what it does for our community. We have to understand that education is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And one of the most powerful tools we have in education is being able to understand that homelessness is a different scenario for different people in different ways. And we're not going to get into all of those, but we're going to get into what it looks like for our moms and for their children and how we aim to stop the terrible cycle and the generation of homelessness within these moms and their children and their families, and what that looks like and how it affects us as staff members and those of us that we have volunteers that work with our organization, as well as what it does for the moms and their kids in our mission. My first guest tonight on live is the wonderfully exciting, energetic, vivacious, beautiful, she's holding up a cue card right now. What else? Hold on. Don't have my glasses. No, our incredible CEO, Amy Lyon.
Hello.
Hey, you can sit back, relax.
Okay, sit back,
How
relax, bring it to me. Hey, everybody.
Amy Lyon.
With New Life Mission.
That's right. Amy, you are our CEO.
Yes, gladly.
Gladly our CEO. So for those people out there, I talked a little bit about, we work with homeless women and children, but I want you to talk a little bit briefly for those of us who don't know, not us, but those out there who don't know what New Life Mission is about.
So New Life Mission is a transitional housing program for homeless women with children who are living in their cars, sleeping on couches, pay-by-day motels, and really just hit rock bottom, and they're ready to make a major change in their lives. So we provide all of the, I'm just going to go right into it. We provide all of the resources that they need to move themselves out of homelessness, sustainability without government assistance.
I think it's an important factor. It's without government assistance. And, one of the things, too, that's so important about our program is that a 2-year wraparound program that, and like you said, touching on some of those things with financial services and mental health services and just really, and I talked a little bit about education before you came on, and really educating people and knowing that in our situation, we hear a lot that that affordable housing is really the reason for homelessness. And it does look different for everybody, and we don't necessarily see that in that case. I mean, I know I've seen where affordable housing was provided for people without homes, and without the skills and without the counseling, without the mental health counseling and the financial counseling, they weren't able to sustain at sometimes life or to be able to maintain the house they put them in. And that's what I think is important about what we do, and it being a wraparound program and offering those services and giving them the skills and the tools and enable them to take care of themselves.
Well, it's not just the moms, but it's their kids too. So we're
Right.
breaking generational cycles for them.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. So some things, we've had a lot of events going on lately.
We've been busy.
We do a lot, and it's wonderful. And one of my favorite things to do is to reach new people. And I hope, those of you out here tonight, if you've never heard about New Life Mission before, and even if you have, you'll pass it along. Let people know and get information. We'd love to give you a tour, have you come check it out to find more information. But what is the future? We can talk short future of New Life Mission, and one of the things that are going through in that exciting mind of yours, what do you have planned?
Well, what do I have planned? I have all kinds of plans
Yes.
in my head, but really I tell everybody it's all about God's timing. We've been around for 16 years and we're just getting started. So we have 4 campuses in Melbourne and a 25-acre property that we're only using 5 acres. So right now we've got everything built out, and we're going to be looking at next steps. What does our community need? Feel free to weigh in, leave a comment. What does our community need?
Yeah.
So,
What are the needs of our community? And, you came to New Life Mission how many years ago?
7.
7 years ago. And one of the remarkable things about you is that you have worked in so many different positions, so you've seen every facet of what this organization does and how it helps and how it works. And I think that makes you a very strong leader in that position, that you don't ask people to do something you've not yourself done.
Yes. And if they try to say, you have no idea how hard this is.
You're like,
yes,
yeah,
I do. I've already done it. So, but worth it. Every single thing we do is transforming lives.
And you said we're using 5 acres in one of those properties out of the 25 acres that we have. So we have 20 more to go, 20 more to grow.
20 more to grow.
20 more to grow. That's going to be our new campaign, 20
Bumper
more
stickers
to grow.
coming soon.
With New Life Mission. Yeah, you guys can purchase those on the website coming next month. If there was one thing, for those who are not educated about New Life Mission, we can touch on what we do and stuff like that. But if there was one thing that you could stress to our local community of the importance of what we're doing here at New Life Mission. I know when it is, and there's so many different ways. I mean, yes, we are breaking the cycle of homelessness and generational homelessness, but what is it doing for our community in a whole? What are these moms doing?
So I think the one really important thing is that homelessness is everybody's concern. So this is, we all have to work together. When we help moms become self-sufficient, we are growing a community, and now we have people who can go out and help. It's like a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. So this, it affects our taxes. It affects everything in the community. So we all need to work together.
We do. And one of the things too is what the moms are doing. I mean, they're working, they're getting jobs, they're getting the ability to choose the correct job in order to take care of a single parent with 3, 4, 5 children in some cases that will sustain a normal life as they can. But also the contribution back to the community. A lot of times when I've met with law enforcement, my urge is that law enforcement doesn't have to, be worrying about this so much, that our city officials and our city leaders are finding new ways to work with organizations like us and other organizations so the police can go back and, and do what they do best. So that's one of the things that I like, is that stopping, some young people that are on the streets and finding the wrong path and getting into criminal activities and
there's a cost to taxpayers.
100%, yeah.
With every call they have to answer, and every person that goes into jail,
right,
into the hospital.
And they don't just send one person, do they? When they get a call, they send backup, they send EMT, dogs. They just send everybody. What do you see moving forward in the next 5 years? If you could, what would you like to see?
Well, what I would like to see is, it sounds kind of like Pollyanna-ish, but I want to see more people getting involved. And that doesn't mean that you personally have to know how to solve homelessness, but supporting the organizations that do and letting the professionals do the work. I think if everybody just did a little bit more, there's people who are ready, like New Life Mission, that we're ready to go into those dark places and find the people who need help. We just need the resources. We need the community support. We don't take government funding, so we're looking to individuals, churches, businesses to help us fill the gap.
Yeah, we definitely. And if you have a church that you go to that is looking for mission work right here in our community, not necessarily abroad all the time, but looking for something that in your own backyard. And Amy's going to say, you say this all the time, but I believe this wholeheartedly, and everything I put my mind and my work to is that you have to think globally.
Act locally.
And you have to act locally, because there is a lot of issues happening right here in our backyard. And there's a lot of resources and money in a lot of churches that go far and abroad to do things and they're not really giving back to their local community. And that would be something I'd like to see.
Not to interrupt.
Not to interrupt.
But if we can build up our community, we then have more people that can go out to other communities and to other communities. So we need to start right here.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job of that, of bringing people together. It's a worthy cause, and when people ask me all the time, that know my background as being an entertainer, why this? Why do you choose this? I've been involved with so many organizations, so many nonprofits. Not that they're not all worthy, because they are, but when I saw how this organization was run, when I saw that you guys have full disclosure on finances throughout the end of the year, people know where the money's going. I feel like the donors can rest assured and can visually see where the money is going. Our moms are so grateful. They reach out to our donors. There's a lot of beautiful things happening to assure people, because no matter who you are, if you're a billionaire or you make, $10 an hour, you work hard for your money. It's hard-earned money. So having assurance on where your money is going, if you're going to give it, is a big deal. And that was something that was really important to me, because for me, it's time. It's the time that we all take to do this. And in the organization, I'm not trying to make this a celebratory, moment, but it really is. It was a conscious decision that this organization, and hearing from our moms and listening to those stories. So that's why social media is so important. So those of you guys that aren't following, hit the like button, hit the follow button, make sure you get involved in what's going on. Our social media girl, Charlotte, she does an amazing job. We want to make sure that, you're reaching out to her and ways to get more information. And we can't do that without your help. So please do that. Amy, I know you and I could have a conversation for the next 6 years on all the amazing things we could do here at New Life Mission and all the amazing things we're doing. But let's talk a little bit about April 10th and 11th.
Yes, Community Care and Share.
Yeah.
Our annual luncheon, 2 days. This luncheon fundraiser raises 1/4 of our operating budget for the year. So it's a big deal. The community really comes together. We have table hosts. We've got tables open. This is just a really great opportunity to come for lunch, learn about our organization, hear from a mom whose life has been completely transformed. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but this year is going to be incredible.
Yeah. And what does that look like, this table host? What is that? Somebody can contact anyone?
Well, they can just reach out to us directly, and we will place them at a table.
Perfect.
So there's no charge to attend, but we do ask everyone to make a donation.
Right. Wonderful. I like I said, we could talk forever, but I think, I wanted people to see your face and know that they're in good hands, and, and definitely come out to one of our events, March 13th.
Yep, March 13th, we have Come and See at New Life Village. You can see a room where one of the moms is living, our Kids Academy. Take a tour around our space and see that 20 acres where the future is.
Yeah, wonderful. And you can see all of us there. And it's my birthday.
It's his birthday.
It's my birthday, March 13th. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Amy, thank you.
Thank you, Alfie.
I appreciate you. Were you going to blow it up? That was a couple of years ago. It's all right. You've been busy.
All right. I'm going to go
on
that note.
Thank you so much. You can just push that. There you go.
All right.
Big deal. Amy Lyon, everybody. Thank you, Amy. I'm so not used to being without my cough button. I'm over here trying not to cough, and I keep pushing the microphone away from me. But no, there are ways you guys can get involved too. One of the ways you guys can get involved is to make sure that that you follow social media and you look to see what events are happening at New Life Mission. It doesn't cost anybody if you can't personally financially give. It doesn't cost you any money to tell your friends about the organization or to share one of our posts on social media. I know Charlotte's working the board right now, so she's there to answer any of your questions. She'll put the links up of how you guys, if you can't come to our Community Care and Share, if you can't come to one of our events, one way you can donate. But one of the things I'm really strong and proud of most is I wrote a little bit of an essay a few months ago about the levels of charitable giving, and that starts with our children. And I don't mean like your children should come out and give, $30, $40. I mean, children can be charitable because if they have any used toys that are in new condition, that's when we start our children off on how to have a charitable heart. Our teenagers, when they're starting to do their community service hours for scholarships, that's the way they learn to give back. In our 20s, and as you're starting to go into your new field after college and go and become a young professional, finding out an organization in your community that you can give back to. And then as you become a little bit more of a senior professional, you have a little bit more exposable or disposable income to give to an organization like that. And then as you get into being an elderly person and into your senior years, a legacy gift that you can give to an organization like New Life Mission. These are all amazing ways, but it really starts with our kids. And it does not mean you're a terrible person because your children aren't giving or you're not giving, but just telling somebody about an amazing organization like this is giving a lot, getting the word out there. My wonderful next guest, her name is Lori Conte. I have to ask her if that last name, the guy who wrote the, I think the theme to Rocky's last name is Conte, but probably no relation, or I'd ask her for a lot of money. But we would like to welcome her here and have a conversation with her. Those of you at home or in your car, don't clap if you're driving. Lori Conte, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'll clap for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Get yourself comfortable. There you go. As long as you're like this far away, you're good.
All right.
Lori,
Hi.
how are you?
Wonderful.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
I was going to wear my pink pants as well, but I figured we'd be too matchy-matchy. Lori, New Life Mission. Amazing, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
How long, just pull this a little bit closer for you. There you go. So how long have you been involved and to what degree?
Well, I first went to a luncheon, I believe it was in 2020. Sammy Bolger is one of the board members, and she invited me. We're longtime friends. And since then, I just kind of fell in love with the program, and I've been going to the luncheon every year, whether it was in the capacity of being a hostess for a table or being a guest at a table. And then for the past couple of years, I've been on the fundraising committee for the luncheon.
So the luncheon we're talking about, what Amy talked about, the Community Care and Share.
Community Care and Share.
April
in
10th and
every year.
11th, yeah.
10th and 11th, be there.
What's that like? The talk about hosting a table. What does that mean exactly?
So you fill the table with 9 of your best friends, family, business partners, whoever you think is going to actually bring value to the lunch, because it is a fundraiser, so we try to keep that in mind.
Sure.
And you just invite them and tell them, to be there at a certain time. And then everyone I've ever invited, they fall in love with the program.
Yeah.
And so it works. The luncheon really does work for the community.
It does. I remember coming on and asking questions about New Life Mission, and I wasn't exactly sure about, so I have these great fundraising ideas, and they're like, we have this luncheon. I go, man, a luncheon? I'm so used to like banquets and big like evening things and huge concerts, and they told me all about it. I'm so excited. This is my first year to do that. But let's talk about you. You're a local.
I'm a local.
Yeah. So you grew up where?
Born and raised in Titusville.
All right.
Yes. Never left Brevard.
So that has to be, you went to Titusville High?
I did.
So that has to be, I mean, irrelevant. I asked that, but I was like, hey, what effect? No, I did not. I went to Satellite. But that has to be important to you when you think about growing up in this community and seeing, a community that shaped you, right? An organization like this that gives back right here. And why? Why New Life Mission? It was that, for you, it was that, are we good?
Oh, can't hear me?
Yeah,
Is
we
that
can
better?
turn her up a little bit. Welcome to live media, ladies and gentlemen.
Do we have to redo all of that?
No, it's all live. You're good.
Okay.
I'm a loudmouth too, so Charlotte has to probably. Yep, there goes Charlotte pulling me down.
All right. Is that better? Okay.
Okay, so.
Yes, I'm from Brevard County,
Yeah.
grew up in Titusville, and I feel like this kind of program is very important to me because I feel like as a native in this county, or anybody that lives in this county, should feel a sense of responsibility to make sure that it thrives. And so, if you're a member of this community, then you really should support this program, because you don't want homeless people living on the streets with their kids in their cars, going to the public schools, and that sort of thing.
And it is important to mention too that, we only take moms from Brevard County because, we're putting in resources to these moms and we're asking for donors to these moms, and that we do want them to give back and contribute into Brevard County. But we also want to see their journey. I mean, we, like you and I both grew up in Brevard County. So it's important to me even when I didn't live in Brevard for a while, it was important for me to see Brevard thriving. I mean, that, we all have those familiar places we went to. You guys had Moonlight Drive-In up there? It's been there
Yes.
forever, right? So
Owned by a family friend, not a family friend, but owned by somebody I went to school with.
right. So
yeah.
but those are the things that you want to, when you see these things, these legacy places that live on, right? No matter where you go, or you bring somebody in from out of town, you go, hey, we got to check this place out. It's been here forever. I know for me, it's, there's so many places like that. The original Bizarro's on the beach, right? Like everybody's got to go there and get a slice after being on the beach. And those memories are what shape what we do in our community. So when I think about our moms growing up here, and I think about their kids growing up here, and I think about what does that look like? So our community is important for buildings and restaurants and stuff like that. But when we see the faces of these moms, and I think about how this organization gives back to the community that way, I now talk about New Life Mission in the same way.
No, it's
like,
true.
hey,
And
you got to check this place out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then hearing the stories about, one of the moms, I think she got her firefighting certificate and she works for Titusville, I believe, if I got the story right. One became an insurance agent. So there's avenues for these women to be a contributing factor to our local society.
Yeah.
And then that impacts the children as well. So
It does. I mean, after seeing some of these testimonies from these moms and watching some multimedia on them, but the one that got me, man, was watching a kid talk about how her mom went through the program and how proud she is of her mom. And, and then this girl is now successful. It's incredible. And there's no shortage of stories. I mean, we could spend just a day talking about testimonies and stories about how this has shaped it. But really, we could talk about, for you, I mean, how has this impacted you compared to other activities and charities that you give to? How has this impacted your life?
Well, so I was a single mom for the first 8 years of my daughter's life. My ex-husband and I divorced when she was 1. And I don't really have a great story because I wasn't homeless, and
Sure.
none of that really is profound compared to what these women are going through and facing. But I could have easily been 1 or 2 paychecks behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
And so spending 8 years raising a child, I had my ex-husband and I had family and I had friends and a gainful employment and all that. So it's not really relevant, but everyone has their own story. And
I think it's relevant because the importance is, and what I like about this, because I was in the beauty industry for a while, and, it can be a very cutthroat industry, and there's not a lot of, at the time, I mean, I tried to shape that differently, but there wasn't a lot of women helping women. There was climbing the corporate ladder and kicking the ladders over as you were going up. So I think it is relevant what you have to say, because you have an understanding as being a single mom. And then you can imagine that if your paychecks fell behind, but also an organization of women helping women. There's very few men that work with New Life Mission. There's a lot of women involved that want to see other women succeed.
right.
And it's one of those things when our moms come in and they start in a communal living, that no one can understand better where you've been and what you're going through than one of these other moms.
Right.
But, I think that's very relatable, what you went through, and don't ever discount that. That's powerful in itself. And I think that it's those things that you bring to the table that we have to tell you guys, that you could be 1 paycheck behind. You could at any moment. And some people give me controversy over the fires in Los Angeles, like they're rich, they'll buy another house, but they're still homeless. They still lost everything at the drop of a hat. And think about somebody who didn't have the finances or their insurance in place, and we all know, just because you have insurance in place does not mean you're going to get a house tomorrow. You're going to get a house at the insurance time.
Yeah. Being an insurance agent for
Right.
25 years. Yes. It's a long process, and it's not, nothing's immediate. So,
But
yeah, my current husband, Doug, so I gained 2 more daughters when I got married to Doug, and one of them also is a single mom with a 3-year-old. And so, if people don't have community and they don't have family and they don't have friends and a good support system with their work,
Yeah.
it could easily snowball so fast. And I think that's why I love New Life Mission so much, is because they bring that community together for the women with all of the counseling and all of the even the communal living. You get together with other moms that are going through a similar experience.
Yeah.
And so I just love it for that reason too.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
We love you here and all of your
you.
help and all you do. And it's always amazing. You walk in the room with a bright, shining face. And I got to meet Doug recently. And yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. And I noticed that too, that those of the ladies that help like you do a lot have really loving and supporting husbands that are like, yeah, like they understand the story. And it's because sometimes you see a guy will have his charity over here or maybe not. And then, the wife is forcing along. And I don't feel that way. I don't see that here. I see a lot of great contribution on both sides. So we thank both you and Doug so much for all you do. And
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and people can come and see you in person, live.
Yes. My youngest daughter, through my marriage with Doug, she actually was super involved with New Life at the very beginning of the community care and share. So she's been on the committee. Like I heard you talking to Amy earlier about getting these kids starting young with philanthropy and community giving and things like that. And so I'm just really blessed that she was able to be part of that for a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
So if you guys want any more information, you can go on our social media. You can go on any of our websites and whatnot. And if you want to meet the Lori Conte in person, make sure you come to Community Care and Share. Right?
Yes,
Any more info
April
about
10th,
that?
April 11th. No, unless you want me to tell you more about our special guest.
So I
that
was
we have.
just going to lead into that.
Okay.
So not only is Lori here for all of the amazing things she brings to the table to New Life Mission, but also bringing in a wonderful guest that's going to be with us at Community Care and Share, but also going to be my next guest on here, if you want to tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our special guest at the luncheon, his name is Gary Miracle. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about him through local community. And I met him through a car buying experience about 8 years ago. And after he went through his transformation into a new life with his illness, I became his insurance agent after he got his new van. I'll let him tell the story. I don't want to give up too much of it, but so I'm his insurance agent. And for the past few years, I've asked him, hey, do you want to come to this luncheon? Do you want to come to this luncheon? And so finally, he said yes this year. So he's going to be at the luncheon, and he's going to be a participant of the Community Care and Share.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Lori Conte, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
You can just push it back.
Okay.
There you go. We're my one-man applause. Thank you so much, Lori.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so there's many ways you guys can get involved. Before I have my special guest come in here, he's going to be joining me. And I have to tell you what, I thought it was total crap when they told me that his name is Miracle, but he will pull out his license and he will show you, birth certificate and otherwise, the man's last name is Miracle. Here he is.
Here I am.
There he is.
I don't need a microphone. No, all right.
You're about as loud as I am.
Sir. I got this. Yeah, I got it.
All right, bro.
I don't need hands to move a mic. Let's do this.
Okay, we're gonna start
Let's
that
have some
way.
bro talk.
Let's
man.
have some
Come
bro
on.
talk.
Yeah, there's too many women in here. Let's chat.
You don't know what it's like to work with all these women.
There we go.
No, it's great. It's amazing. Gary, I was really happy to have this opportunity to sit down and talk to you. And we talked a little bit about when we met the day of the great flood of 2025, as we're calling it around here, when our office flooded. But we met that day, and the thing was, there's amazing stories out there. I'm gonna let you tell your story in a second. There's amazing stories out there, but it was really important for me, for you and I just have a conversation as two guys talking, just get to know you and stuff like that, and what your involvement is going to be with Community Care and Share. But obviously, I'm sure people are wondering, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the number
That is
one
the question.
Well,
What happened?
Well, yeah.
Did
so
people do that? They just come up and say, what happened?
No, it's the opposite. They come up to me and thank me for my service.
I figured. I
So
wondered about that.
I look the part.
Yeah.
And people thank me for my service so much so, like, I will go out to restaurants and, like, the waitress or waiter will bring the bill and it'll be paid for and it'll say, "Thank you for your service," written by somebody else. And I feel horrible about that.
Sure,
but,
sure.
You know, that people either assume that I was in the military, or they'll ask me what happened, or they'll just stare at me out of the side of their eyes the whole time. But either way, like, I get the opportunity to try to normalize differences, normalize disabilities, and one of my greatest joys right now in going out and in sharing my story and even leading to even this conversation right here is I've been able to, so this happened to me 5 years ago.
Mhm.
All right. I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy, yeah. It's a weird thing to say. I celebrated, but I'm thankful that I'm alive, because for 11 minutes of my life, I wasn't in this moment. So on 7:18 a.m. on January 1st, 2020, until 7:29 a.m., I was laying lifeless on a hospital bed while they were trying to resuscitate me to bring me back. And they did bring me back, and I was in a coma for 10 days, and I was on life support for 10 days. And my family had to make the very difficult decision on my behalf. While I was in a coma, do I lose my life or do I lose my limbs? The infection that was setting in my body, which caused me to go septic and multi-system organ failure. And I mean, the whole gamut, like I had it all. Like,
sure,
sicknesses didn't hold back on me. Like I got what I needed
Won
to
the
get.
sickness lottery, unfortunately.
Like it or not. But they had to make the decision on my behalf. Do we lose his life or does he lose his limbs? And they looked at the doctors and said, "We'll take him back however you can give him to us." So I decided to lose my limbs, but I kept my life. And what I got to learn, and this is the greatest thing about having these conversations like this, and even what we're going to be talking about, and even talking about the community care and share, is that, you know, the only difference between me and you, even right here, right now, is that my struggles in life are extremely visible. Like, you can see every single one of them. Like, you could see, if you were just right outside there with me just now, how difficult it was for me to even hold a cup and take a drink, you know, like, so it's just hard sometimes, but it's visible. Like, people can see how difficult it is for me to do certain things. And the beauty about what I get to do is I know that I'm going to be okay. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I look different. I can say that I am half the man I used to be. So you got me there. Hopefully somebody out there is laughing.
How dare he make such jokes?
Right? You either laugh or get offended, or think like, can I laugh at that? I don't know. But what I get to do is I get to have these conversations and say, yes, my struggles are visible. But we live in a community, and we live surrounded by people that are struggling, that are dying from the inside out, with struggles that are invisible, struggles that you can't see. And me knowing that I'm going to be okay, like, I got prosthetic legs. I just walked in here. There was a time that I didn't think I'd ever walk again. There was a time that I thought that I would never be able to walk my daughter down the aisle. There was a time I never thought that I would be able to coach my kids my boys playing, you know, football or soccer anymore. But I'm going to be okay. But what I've learned, you know, through going through all of this, is that in today's day and age, like, anxiety is a very, very real thing.
Yeah.
And depression, eating disorders, finances, relationships, homelessness, like, you can literally fill in the blank with something that somebody is struggling with in today's day and age. And those are the things that I believe will kill you more than septic shock or multi-system organ failure. So if I can bring light to invisible struggles that people don't know about, that are in our backyard, like right here in our backyard. We don't need to be a missionary flying overseas. Like, people are called to that, and that is beautiful, and that is great. And go, if the Lord is sending you, go. But if he's not sending you, we need help here in our very own backyard with people just standing with us and rallying with us and linking arms with us. And I know that because I have had so many people do that for me in these last 5 years. I mean, I've had churches send small groups to my house to help me get Christmas decorations in and out of my attic, to help me hang those Christmas lights and put up my Christmas tree. And like, the village that I have had rally around me in my time of need, when I didn't think I would ever be in a time of need. Like, that was the biggest identity rocker. I didn't know I was living the all-American life, man. I had an amazing...
You're very active.
I was active. I mean, I was heavily into sports. I I had an incredible stay-at-home, work-from-home job. I was a territory sales rep. My wife at the time was a stay-at-home mom. We have 3 biological boys. I have an adoptive daughter from Colombia, South America. Like, living the dream.
Yeah.
Like, we were doing it. Everything was kicked in. And then God was like, well, here's a wrench, right? So, like, I'm going to rock your world, and I'm going to strip away a lot of identity that you thought you had. So he did just that. I didn't ever think I would be in this position. You'd ask me 5 days before this happened to me, Gary, what would you do without your hands and legs? And man, I'd say, kill me. Like, I would not want to live like this.
Yeah.
But if you come to me right now and say, hey, Gary, what would you do if you were homeless? And I wouldn't want to live like that. I would not want to live like that at all. But knowing that there are things out there, knowing that there are resources out there that I was ignorant to, that I didn't know about, that I didn't know that there were places to go or people that need, like, it's hard to think that this is happening in our own backyard. When you turn the news on, we're not talking about what's happening in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
Like, it's out there, but this stuff is in Brevard County. So, man, if I can use my story and use my platform to bring light to change something that's going on here in Brevard for these women, for New Life Mission, for homelessness, just in general, like, and I want to pour everything I got into that, just because I've never felt more loved in all of my life.
Yeah.
When I thought that I would be judged for the sharing of my struggles, when I thought that I would be judged for how I look and how I walk and how I talk and these tattoos that I got, not because I think I'm cool, but because I covered scars that I was ashamed of. Like, so when I think all these people are looking at me and judging me, I'm only getting the flip side of that coin, that I've never felt more loved in all of my life through the sharing of my struggles. I was just too stinking prideful all of my life to admit my invisible struggles that I had.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, basically being a guy too. I mean, that's a hard thing. I mean, I'm fortunately, I've came to terms very early on that I was going to make any of my struggles visible for the greater good too. As far as when it comes to men, never want to talk about mental health. They never want to talk about depression. They never want to talk about that. And it's funny you say about struggles happening in your own backyard. You remember being a kid and like you didn't finish your plate and your parents like, there's children starving in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm like, there are children starving on hibiscus
Right here.
right? Like right down the
here.
road. And
That's 100% it. Like that's, and again, like I had just mentioned, like I am ignorant to that. You never think that it's going to happen to you or to someone you know, or we never think that it's happening around us that we don't know about. Like, we think it's always something that's happening far away.
it could never happen to me.
It would never happen to me.
Yeah.
Me, like that would never happen to me. Like, kill me if I lose all 4 of my limbs, but I don't even have to worry about that because nothing that drastic would ever happen to me. But man, God's got a different story, and we don't know what that story is.
Right.
But the only thing that I do know is that wherever we're at in life right now, whether it's in the thick of our struggle, in the thick of the depression of homelessness and the fear of homelessness, and the fear of these women that are part of the program in homelessness, like these fears are real. But if I can encourage anybody that's listening, and especially these women, is just to continue to remind people that no matter what it is you're going through, that you're exactly right on time. You wouldn't be going through this right now if Christ didn't want you to be going through it. So if you are wishing it away, if you wished that something was different about your life right now, then you're taking the stance that Christ is doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Man, that's not a stance that I'm willing to take.
Right.
So I'm going to accept my situation. I'm going to accept this. There's a very distinct line in the sand. What am I going to do? Am I going to stand on that side of the line? And woe is me, sit on my couch, watch Dr. Phil all day, get addicted to pain pills, watch life go by, watch my kids grow up without a dad, and my parents grow up without a son, my sister without a brother, all that stuff? Or am I going to stay on this side of the line and fight like crazy to learn what it means to live and not just be alive? And that is the side of the line that I wanted to stand on. And hope is a very real thing for me, man. Sometimes that's all I got is the hope. And the lack of hope is another one of those invisible struggles that sometimes we don't admit that we have, that lack of hope. So when I find somebody who's struggling in hope, I say, when your hope is hard to find, you can borrow mine. Because, man, I've seen Christ show up to save my life so many times. So if I can take my story, my testimony, my journey out to the masses, man, bring it on.
I love another portion about how you are as a person is that unfortunately some people just use the hope in Christ as a crutch, but don't realize, and you're really good and powerful at saying that, you know what, yes, God is there for me. God has put me where I need to be, but I still have to do the work.
Absolutely.
I still have to do the work.
Yeah.
Right. I can't just sit back and just be hopeful on that. I still have to do the work with God's strength behind me.
100%. Faith without deeds is dead.
100%.
Right?
Thank you for saying that.
So faith without deeds is dead. I can say, I can give you the Sunday school answers. I can speak the Christianese language.
Sure.
I can tell you what you want to hear. I can tell you that everything's going to be okay. I can tell you that the Lord gives and the Lord takes away, but blessed be the name of the Lord. Like, I can tell you these things, but until you've experienced something and lived through something, or have the heart of knowing that something is there and that you can do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can. If you're not in the situation, Christ has blessed each one of us with one of three things, if not all of the three things, which is our time, talent, and our resources. If we don't have the time to go overseas on a mission trip, great. That's okay. You have the talent to do something here.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have any talent, you got a resource that you can throw somebody else's way for them to use their time or talent. So really, in my opinion, like, nobody's got an excuse. I say all the time, if you follow me on social media, I hashtag all the time, no hands, no feet, no excuses. Like, I don't have an excuse to sit on the couch and get addicted to pain pills and watch life go by. I've spent my whole life since I was 11 years old, when I asked Jesus Christ to come into my heart. I've spent my whole life telling people that Christ is good, trying to convince other people that he's good, just begging people to believe that he's good. So how dare I, now that something traumatic has happened to me in my life, now choose to live my life like he's no longer
turn your back
good.
on that. Yeah.
That's like, I can't do that, man. Like,
yeah.
And now, because I've seen Christ show up for me so many times, I'm scared to death not to live for him right now.
Sure.
Like, I've seen him show up for me. So he's going to continue to do that and rock out for me. So I just want to be obedient and faithful.
Yeah. And because of that, you show up for others. I mean, that's what's, I always say, you were born with two hands, one to take all the knowledge and all the information you can get in the world and all the resources and stuff, and the other to give back. I mean, that's the whole purpose of our life, is to create a sense of community, a wellness, a giving back community, a fellowship, a brotherhood, and not just talk about it, but be about it.
Absolutely.
And you live that. And I mean, I can say that, surely. I mean, that's how you are. You don't say this because you want attention or praise or money or resources. I mean, you generally have been through it. You talk about it, but you're also being about it every single day. And I, other than, obviously your struggles that you've been through, but as a man, I appreciate that wholeheartedly, that you are open with, you've been very open. I've watched your podcasts. I've watched other stuff. I've read your book. Like, you show up 100% genuine. And that's something that, to me, is more beautiful and more telling than anything that could have happened to you.
Man, so that doesn't come natural for me.
Yeah.
Even the subtitle of the book I had the opportunity to write, the subtitle is Trading the Pursuit of Perfection for the Gift of Grace. And here's shameless plug.
Shameless plug right here.
There it is. No more bad days. So, this is not some religious jargon. This isn't a detachment of reality, these words. Like, I understand, like, man, we're going to have really crappy situations and tough circumstances and difficult times. But if it's true, if Scripture really is true, if Christ's mercies are new every single morning, then because of Christ in me, if Galatians 2:20 is even true, that it is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me, that means that, Alfie, like, you're not talking to Gary Miracle right here. You're talking to Christ in Gary Miracle.
Right.
That's my identity. That is what I'm fused with, the very fiber of my being, with the DNA of Christ. And when he came into my life at 11, he didn't hold anything back. But I got really stinking good at being a professional chameleon. Man, I was whoever I needed to be based on whoever I was with. Sunday mornings at church, I was the best Christian you'd ever lay eyes on. I had arms like lifted high, eyes closed, holding my kids, doing that thing. And then when I was in high school, I was the guy on Friday nights at the high school parties, holding the red Solo cup full of beer, not taking a sip of it because I thought it was disgusting,
right?
But I had to fit in. I had to look the part. I always had to be the tallest guy, the fastest guy, the best looking guy, the funniest guy, whatever, fill in the blank that is. But man, when your identity is shaken to the core and all of that stuff is stripped away from you, and you realize that all of these prayers that you've said of Jesus, I need you, has all just been a bunch of junk, and you just come to that realization that you don't need Jesus at the end of the day. Sometimes you break down and you say, Jesus, you're all I got, man. I don't need you. You're all I have right now. And that is a game changer for the people that are willing to trade the pursuit of perfection and humbly volunteer to be broken. Man, the gift of grace is something.
Sure is.
It's it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about, which if you've never experienced it, something like this, even something like our luncheon, is an incredible way to experience it. Yeah. Like we see Christ show up. Our goal is to keep Christ the center of attention. And he tells us in his word that if we seek him, we will find him if we seek him with everything that we got. So we're giving everything that we got to New Life Mission. And this luncheon specifically to make sure that homelessness is just gone, is done. It doesn't need to be. Yeah. It doesn't need to be here in our backyard. We can be one of the only communities in the nation where we get to say we don't suffer from homelessness in our community. Right. But we just need people to step up, be aware of the situation, time, talent, and resources. Man, we all got them. I got one. You got one. Everyone here has one. But let's use it for the kingdom and to bring glory to Christ. And if we can, I think we're going to be okay.
I think you're right. And Gary's going to be with us at that luncheon, and you're going to hear a little bit more about him. And, and having Gary on board, another thing, it's like you don't need to do this. This is something you want to do. You want to be a part of and giving back. And that's grace at work, really. I mean, that's amazing.
I do. I just know that we desperately need each other. Like we all suck. Like really, let's be honest, man. Like I don't work for New Life, so I get to say what I want to say right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the end of the day, things are very hard.
Yeah.
We all got crap. Yeah. We all got baggage. We all have something. It's the people that are brave enough and courageous enough to lift up their hand and say, this is what I'm going through right now. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that one person does, more and more people, the domino effect starts happening. Yeah. More and more people start saying me too. And now we're able to rally around people and say, no more. No more bad days for me. No more bad days for you. Let's link arms, do this life together. I'm sick of arguing with people. There's so much division. Anywhere you look, there's division. We can argue about anything, right? Sports teams, religion, interpretation of scripture, whatever the case. Wasn't it like a couple years ago, the whole country was up in arms about a dress being blue or gold or something crazy? Like they're arguing about that crazy stuff right there. But the only thing that you can't argue with me about, the only thing that I can't argue with you about is our story, right? Our personal testimony, what Jesus Christ has done in and through me. You can't argue with me about that. I can't argue with you about that. So why don't we just go out there and only talk about that? Let's only go out there and talk about the things that we can't argue about. Yeah. And that's Jesus and what Jesus has done in and through us and how that spurs us on, and iron sharpens iron, and we can change Brevard County. We can change it. We just need to say, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you show up to it, and we appreciate you for that. And if you guys want to meet the man, the myth, the legend, I'll make him bring his passport or whatever, so you can see that his name is really Miracle.
Prove it to you.
Every single time I say I'm going to hang out with Gary Miracle, they're like, "Man, come on."
They think it's my amputee stage name. That's my.
But it is my last name. It is true, man. And we are all better for knowing you, and we are so grateful for you. Just I could say I can't say enough. I really can't about it. I mean, you're inspiring. Well beyond I could ever imagine. And if you guys want to be able to be a part of that and be in presence of somebody just so positive, and that doesn't have to be so positive, right? Like he could have any reason in the world to just say, to anybody else. But if you want to be a part of that, Gary's going to be with us April 11th or 10th and 11th rather. At the Community Care and Share. I just get the I because I almost said the wrong date.
Oh yeah. 10th. Okay, I got you. 10th and 11th in April. All right. Come there. And I'll tell you, there's a very important part of my story that everything that I just said, it stops there.
Yeah.
And there's a very important part, a very personal, extremely personal, intensely personal part of my story that I am pausing here, and I will pick up at the Community Care and Share event to drop that last little bit on everybody, and
all right.
Hope that it brings something. So
Thank you.
Come hear the rest of the story, if nothing else.
Yeah. And we want you guys to tune into that and to check that out. But make sure you check our social media, our website. I'm sure it'll be on Gary's website and his social media, mine personally. But we just want to thank you guys so much for your time tonight. Wanted to let you a little bit in, those of you who don't know. And like I said, if you don't have the money or the resources to give, you have a mouth and you have a heart, and you can tell other people about our mission and what we're doing here and how we're trying to change lives here in Brevard County. Thank you so much. My name is Alfie Silva. I'm your Community Partnership Manager here with New Life Mission, signing off with my friend, Mr. Gary Miracle.
Adios.
We'll see you guys sometime soon. Take care.